repetitions. So we have a short lesson today on outcomes and events as an introduction to probability. So when we talk about probability, which will be our next lesson, um, you use this in everyday life, even though you might not actually realize it because you're just doing it in your head. So really, anytime you use the word probably in a sentence, you're actually talking about probability. You just don't realize it. So one example could be like if you were to jump over the Grand Canyon, probably you're not going to make it, right? So the probability of making it is probably pretty close to zero. And then you can kind of play the what if game. Like, what if you have a hoverboard? Then you probably could make it. And then what's the probability of getting a hoverboard? Well, that might also be zero. So you see, probability can like compound on itself. And we're going to get to that too. But before all that, I want to just work on outcomes and events that occur in an experiment, such as jumping over the Grand Canyon, which I don't recommend. So zoom into some definitions here. An experiment, which you should know from science class, is just an investigation or procedure that has varying results. Outcomes are the possible results of an experiment, so all possible outcomes of what you think is going to happen. An event is a collection of one or more outcomes. So an event occurs, that's an outcome. A favorable outcome is kind of what we're going to be working on in this lesson. So when something happens that you're looking for, that's called a favorable outcome. And it usually comes in a list unless you're looking for one specific thing. An unfavorable outcome is a list of all the other things that you're not looking for. Okay, so everything that's unfavorable will be the list of all of the outcomes that weren't favorable. And now we're going to do a couple videos on these two examples right here. And you're just going to copy down the notes from the videos just like this. And then that's actually it. It's just a one page of notes for this one. Just some definitions, and then we'll get into probability in the next lesson.
Possible outcomes. A number cube has 6 sides, so the 6 possible outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. What are the favorable outcomes of rolling an odd number? First, let's classify each outcome as either odd or not odd, which is also even. So, based on the possible outcomes, we can classify each one. 1 is odd, 2 is even, so it's not odd, 3 is odd, 4 is even, so it's also not odd, 5 is odd, and 6 is not odd. Since 1, 3, and 5 are odd numbers, the favorable outcomes of rolling an odd number are 1, 3, and 5. What are the favorable outcomes of rolling a number greater than 4? So again, we can classify each outcome as either greater than 4 or not greater than 4, which is less than or equal to 4. So based on the possible outcomes, 1 is less than or equal to 4, so we can put that in the not greater than 4 column. 2 is not greater than 4. 3 is not greater than 4. And 4 is also not greater than 4. 5 is greater than 4, so we're going to put it in the greater than 4 column, and also 6. Since 5 and 6 are both greater than 4, the favorable outcomes of rolling a number greater than 4 is 5 and 6. You spin the spinner. How many ways can spinning blue occur? Notice that the spinner has 6 sections but only one section is blue, so spinning blue can occur in one way. Part B. How many ways can spinning not green occur? First, let's count the number of sections on the spinner that are not green. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, spinning not green can occur in 5 ways. And Part C. What are the favorable outcomes of spinning not green? First, let's find the possible outcomes. Each section of the spinner represents a possible outcome. So, the possible outcomes are red, purple, red, blue, red, and green. Now we can classify each possible outcome as either green or not green. So the first possible outcome, red, that is not green. Purple is not green. Red is not green. Blue is also not green. And red is not green. And the last one on the list, green, well, green is green. So the favorable outcomes of spinning not green are red, 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 purple, and blue.